Rangers fans, the conversation around Ibrox has reached a whole new level this week because the story surrounding the captain's future has become impossible to ignore. Every corner of the fan base is buzzing about it, and inside the club the discussion has already turned into one of the biggest decisions of the season. Even in a year where results have swung all over the place, James Tavernier is still one of the few figures carrying the team, stepping up when others dip, driving them forward when confidence wobbles. But his contract is running out, and with the months ticking by, the uncertainty about whether he stays or goes has turned this into a moment that could shape the entire squad going forward. The situation is far from straightforward. Tavernier has been the heartbeat of the side for nearly a decade, and yet the mood right now is different from the conversations of years gone by. Normally, a player with his influence and track record would already be deep into extension talks, but that is not happening. Not publicly, at least. And that silence has opened the door to all sorts of opinions. Some supporters insist the club must keep him no matter what, because the team would crumble without his leadership. Others believe the cycle might be reaching its natural end, and that the club should consider planning the next chapter. That contrast of views has created a tension that only grows with each passing week. What complicates everything even more is the lack of a clear successor in his position. If Rangers had brought in a younger right back who had already taken command of the role, maybe the conversation would be easier. But that hasn't happened. Players came in with the hope of pushing for the spot, yet none managed to establish themselves as long-term solutions. The notion of allowing Tavernier to walk away sounds simple on the surface, but once you peel it back, it reveals a massive recruitment challenge. You would need not only a new starting right back, but also someone dependable enough to be his understudy. And with so many areas of the squad crying out for investment, solving the right side of the defense twice over is not exactly a realistic task. The irony in all this is that even now, after so many years at the club, Tavernier continues to deliver numbers that most fullbacks across Europe could only dream of. Goals, assists, decisive moments, leadership in matches where everything seems to be falling apart, he still provides them. Even with the squad failing to find consistent rhythm, he has been one of the few showing up in the biggest moments, scoring crucial penalties, creating chances out of nothing, and dragging the team through difficult spells. Those contributions cannot be easily replaced, no matter how much money the club decides to throw at the problem. And then there is the emotional element. He is not just a player. He has become part of the fabric of the modern Rangers story. He walked into Ibrox during a period of rebuilding, when expectations were different and the team was still trying to rediscover who they were. Over the years, he became the face of the resurgence, the captain who led the side back to league glory and into European nights that brought the club's identity roaring back to life. Letting go of someone with that legacy is never simple. Not for the board, not for the supporters, and not for the dressing room. But football does not operate on emotion alone. The club must weigh his age, his physical demands, his wage structure, and the long-term plan for the squad. That balance is incredibly tricky, because offering him a deal purely based on sentiment could create issues down the line. Yet letting him go without a replacement lined up could create an even bigger problem. Rangers are in a moment where every decision counts, every penny matters, and every move has consequences. That is why the board is under so much pressure to get this one right. What adds more fuel to the fire is the broader picture surrounding the club right now. Performances have not met expectations, supporters are frustrated, and every weakness in the squad has been exposed at one point or another. There are gaps in midfield, questions in the attacking line, inconsistencies in defense, and a general sense that the rebuild is far from complete. In that environment, the thought of losing your most experienced and reliable player suddenly becomes much more daunting. You cannot simply replace that experience with a quick signing or a youth prospect. It takes time, structure, and a clear plan, and right now Rangers are still piecing that plan together. At the same time, keeping a player at his stage of career requires careful handling. The club cannot afford to hand out long, expensive contracts that may restrict future flexibility. Yet at the same time, they cannot ignore the value he still brings. That is the tightrope Rangers must walk. Too generous, and they damage their strategic rebuild. Too cautious, and they risk breaking the spine of the squad. All of this is happening while the pressure of competing on multiple fronts grows heavier. Every league match feels like a must-win. Every European night exposes flaws that need urgent addressing. The margin for error is small, and the captain often ends up being the one pushing the team through when belief gets shaky. Without him, the leadership picture changes dramatically, and that is another layer the club must think about. As things stand, the discussion around Tavernier's future has become a mirror reflecting the bigger issues at Rangers. It shows where the squad is strong, where it is vulnerable, and where the long-term planning has not been clear enough. Whether he stays or goes will not just be about one player. It will be about the direction the club chooses to take from here. The tension around Ibrox has only grown because the debate about the captain is happening at the same time as frustration builds with the wider direction of the squad. Supporters are looking at the team and seeing areas that need urgent improvement, yet the conversation keeps circling back to the same issue. How can Rangers map out the future when the present still feels unstable? Every match seems to highlight something different. One week the defense looks stretched, the next the midfield cannot control the tempo, and then the following match the attack struggles to create anything meaningful. In the middle of all that, the captain continues to stand out, and that contrast between his consistency and the squad's inconsistency is making this whole decision feel even heavier. Inside the club, the feeling is that the next few months are going to shape the entire rebuild. The pressure on the sporting department has intensified, especially after a summer window that brought in plenty of new faces but not enough proven quality. The expectation was that fresh signings would settle quickly, energize the squad, and give the manager more options, but it has not unfolded that way. Instead, the team looks in need of leadership, purpose, and strong characters, and that only reinforces why losing someone like Tavernier right now feels like a gamble. What complicates matters even further is the weight of recent criticism directed at the people responsible for identifying and signing new players. Supporters have not been shy in voicing their concerns, especially after performances that fell well below the standards expected at Rangers. The disappointment was particularly raw after the recent European defeat, where the team looked short of belief and organization. The reaction inside the stadium said everything. The frustration was not just about one match or one bad night. It was about a pattern that has built up over time. Fans want to see ambition, planning, and recruitment that genuinely lifts the team, not signings who struggle to make an impact. In that environment, every decision becomes magnified. If the club decides to let the captain leave, supporters will demand clarity on who replaces him, how much the club is willing to invest, and whether the new player can genuinely match the levels expected. If the club keeps him, people will want assurance that the deal makes sense financially and fits within a sustainable plan. It is a situation where both options come with risk, and neither choice will please everyone. That is the reality of being a club with such high expectations, where every single detail is scrutinized. You can feel the tension from the moment the team steps onto the pitch. When results start slipping, when passes go astray, when the crowd senses the team lacks urgency, all eyes drift back to the leadership on the park. That is why Tavernier's presence still feels so vital. Even when the team is struggling, he demands the ball, pushes forward, and tries to create something. His penalties, his free kicks, his overlapping runs, they are all woven into the rhythm of how Rangers attack. Removing that rhythm without a clear replacement would mean tearing up a structure the team has used for years. And doing that during a turbulent period could easily deepen the instability rather than fix it. At the same time, the board cannot simply rely on loyalty and emotion to make decisions. Football does not forgive sentiment when results are on the line. They need to look at the numbers, the physical demands, the long-term projection of the squad, and the financial constraints that come with modern football. They must ask difficult questions, even about a player who has given everything for the badge. Can he maintain his current level for another year or two? Will the team evolve in a way that still suits his style? Can Rangers afford to tie up wages that might be needed to bolster other areas of the pitch? Those are the realities the decision-makers face, and they cannot shy away from them. But when you look at the squad as it stands, it is hard to ignore how thin some areas are. The attacking options have not clicked, the midfield lacks balance, and certain defensive positions still need reinforcement. That means any signing replacing the captain would need to be extraordinary right from the start, because the team does not have the luxury of easing someone in slowly. Supporters are demanding improvement now, not at some distant point in the future. And that demand makes planning even more complicated. Another issue lingering around the club is trust. Supporters want to believe in the rebuild, but the past windows have left them skeptical. Too many signings have struggled to settle, too many promising names have failed to deliver, and too many decisions have left the team looking weaker instead of stronger. That is why the idea of giving the same leadership team another heavy responsibility in the transfer market has caused so much debate. If they are entrusted with shaping the next phase, the pressure to get it right will be immense, because the margin for error is practically gone. The ownership picture adds yet another layer to the puzzle. Expectations rose when new investment came in, with many fans hoping for a clear strategy, smarter recruitment, and a pathway that would avoid past mistakes. But the reality has been more turbulent than expected, and the frustrations have resurfaced. The squad still looks short in key positions. The level of quality has not matched the club's ambitions, and the general feeling is that the project needs stronger direction. All of these factors connect directly back to the captain's situation. His future is not just a contract detail. It represents where the club is right now, where it wants to go, and how confident the supporters feel in the people making the decisions. Losing him could signal a reset, a shift towards something new, but it could also destabilize a team that already feels fragile. Keeping him could provide leadership and consistency, but it also demands careful financial handling and a clear understanding of how he fits into the long-term vision. The months ahead will be crucial, not only for Tavernier, but for Rangers as a whole. The team cannot afford another cycle of uncertainty, patchwork solutions, and signings that fail to change the picture. They need clarity, conviction, and a genuine plan that supporters can believe in. And whatever the club decides in the coming weeks will play a big part in determining whether that plan takes shape or falls apart again. And as the captain's contract situation hovers over everything, it becomes impossible to separate that single decision from the wider state of the club. It is all connected. Every signing, every departure, every choice made in the boardroom reflects the same question. What do Rangers want to be in the coming years? The support has made it clear. They want strength, clarity, ambition, and identity. Now the club must show whether they are ready to deliver it. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The Scottish football scene is buzzing with what could be the most shocking twist in recent memory. Whisperings around Glasgow's green and blue corridors suggest that Kieran Tierney, long a talisman at Celtic, has made the unthinkable leap to Rangers. Sources close to the situation hint that negotiations have been quietly progressing behind closed doors, and insiders are now murmuring that a deal has been struck. Tierney, whose name has been synonymous with the hoop's resilience and flair down the left flank, would be swapping the familiar green hoops for the Ibrox blue, a move certain to set tongues wagging across the city. The reaction among fans is expected to be explosive. Loyalty, passion, and rivalry in Glasgow are no small matters, and the very idea of a player crossing the divide is enough to send shockwaves through both sets of supporters. Rumors suggest that the transfer involves intricate terms, with both clubs reportedly keen to maintain a veneer of discretion while ensuring the deal benefits all parties. Some insiders hint that Rangers see Tierney as a statement signing, one that could galvanize their squad and fan base in equal measure. Meanwhile, Celtic supporters are said to be in disbelief, struggling to reconcile the departure of a player who has become a symbol of their modern era. As whispers grow louder, the city is divided between outrage, curiosity, and a morbid fascination. Conversations in local pubs, on social media, and in training grounds are dominated by speculation over Tierney's motivations. Is it ambition, a desire for a fresh challenge, or a shocking personal decision? One thing seems certain: whichever way it is spun, the narrative will dominate Scottish football headlines for weeks, if not months. While both clubs maintain a studied silence, insiders claim that behind the scenes, the move has been meticulously plotted. Rangers are said to be quietly optimistic about integrating Tierney into their system, while Celtic are reportedly bracing themselves for the fallout, both on the pitch and among a fanbase feeling the sting of betrayal. Whether this rumor evolves into reality, or simply remains the most electrifying gossip in Scottish football, It has already ignited debate, emotion, and speculation that no supporter of either side can ignore. The city's two giants are preparing, knowingly or not, for the storm that such a move would unleash. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.